What's up, guys? Steven here with Way Up West Outdoors, and today we're going to be going over the Sig Cross Sawtooth in 7 PRC. Alright guys, a little background about myself is I spent 2010, 2014 in the Marine Corps, and 3 of those years I spent as a school-trained scout sniper in a sniper platoon. And currently I work as a federal security guard with DOE, still carrying a long gun. So I have about 15 years of experience behind a long gun. I only say that just because I want to have some validity behind my opinion. I'm not just some random guy talking about a long gun. I know a thing or two about long guns. That being said, we're gonna go on to the upgrades of what Sig has done to this rifle here. So this right here, this is the last year's model of the Sig Cross Magnum. This is the 300 Win Mag that they had. As you can see, it has a full-length arc and a long handrail and a steel barrel. So the upgrades they made are all pretty much on the front end. They changed the proof barrel to take the weight off. They increased the size of that radial brake to help the recoil management, and they shortened up this fore end to save some weight. They keep that skeletonized, save the weight, and the last thing they did is they just extended this arca rail to about here instead of all the way to the end. They did keep M-lock on the bottom, so if you do want to be able to put your bipod more towards the front, you can attach a piece of arca up here if you'd like. And I use an RRS piece right here that has a thumb screw that you can just loosen and slide this back and forth if you'd like. So you just loosen this guy up, loosen that guy up, and you can slide this back and forth. And if you put a piece of arc in the front, you can move your bipod a little further forward. That's pretty much all the upgrades they made from this rifle. But what those upgrades did, they took off nearly a pound off that gun right here. So this gun, base weight, no scope, no rings, no bipods, is 8.1 pounds on my scale. That's me weighing it. And I think it's almost 8.5 with the empty magazine. With it completely outfitted with everything I have on here with the Atlas bipods, the RRS mount, mag, bullets, Tango DMR 3-18, rings and everything, it's just over 11 pounds. I think it was like 11 pounds, 1 ounce, which is kind of the sweet spot I like to have a rifle, especially when you're hunting alone. If you're trying to shoot a deer by yourself or shoot an elk by yourself, if you have one of those ultra light rifles, especially in a 7 PRC or 300 PRC and those heavy hitting calibers, that gun's going to jump. And when that gun jumps, you're not going to see your impact. You're not going to be able to have a follow-up shot if you need to. So a little bit heavier gun. I'm not an ultralight guy when it comes to guns. I'm an ultralight guy when it comes to everything else. But a gun, I like in that 10 to 11 pound range. Anything lighter than that, that gun is going to jump. And you're not going to see your impact. Change gears here. We're going to touch on the scope real quick before I just kind of go on to the general features of the Cross. This is a Tango DMR. This is a newer scope that Sig came out with last year. I run a 3-18 by 44. This is a first focal plane scope. I know there's a lot of debate between second focal plane and first focal plane, or front focal plane if someone's going to comment about the way I say it. But I like the first focal plane scopes a little bit. If you don't know what a first focal plane scope is, it basically means the reticle inside the scope is going to stay true to the size of the target. That's a big deal to me because when you're sighting in, or if you're adjusting for the wind or adjusting for anything, no matter what power you are on this scope, that first focal plane scope will stay the same. If you're on a second focal plane scope, you change power, that reticle in relation to the target is different. So if you're on 3 power versus 18 power, everything's going to be different at second focal plane scope. Like I said, first focal plane, 3 to 18, the reticle moves with the magnification. The deer stays in the same relation to the reticle. It's a big deal to me. I won't run second focal planes. I have in the past, and it screwed me up because I thought a hash mark was 1 mil or 1 MOA, and it wasn't because I was on the wrong power. I don't want to have to think about that, so I stick with first focal plane. It's a big deal to me. This scope here, the other big deal to me is it does have a button on the side here, and if you've ever looked down at your turret and it's been twisted, that also screw you up if you ever have to do a snapshot. But it's got a button for the 0 stop. Press the button, then you can turn the turret, and then it'll freewheel, put it back to the locked 0 turret there. And it also has capped windage turret. I hold for a lot of wind and sometimes dial, so capped windage turret. I think is the way to go. Other than that, the scope's pretty light. It's about 25 ounces. So keeping on the light side of things, like Sig has tried to do with this bigger gun, it was a good option for the top of the scope. All right, moving on to the gun itself. They didn't change really anything else in the rest of from the Cross series, from the 6.5 or the 300 Win Mag they got here. It's still the one-piece receiver that they got here. The nice bolt throw. They got that nice angle on the bolt throw that keeps it real smooth and fast on the bolt throw. But the biggest thing that I think on this rifle that I enjoy the most is that foldable stock. I will never own a hunting rifle without a foldable stock ever again. When this gun is folded up, it is super short, and put it on the back of your backpack, and it almost disappears. I think there's about this much of that barrel sticking above the backpack, and it about levels out the top of my head. So you're not catching tree branches. You're not sitting down and sitting on the butt stock because it's hanging below your butt, anything along those lines. But that's a sweet system they got going on here. This button right here is something they did upgrade. If you're familiar with the 6.5, the smaller Cross, they've got a little bit different mechanism to fold the stock up here. It's a button and you pull up. They've upgraded this to a side button push, and then you just swing it around instead of having to lift. It's a little bit easier. Not that that's hard, but this is a little bit easier. If you see on the back here, the back of the butt stock, they've got a bunch of adjustments for length of pull and your comb height. And this is pretty sweet because you can kind of do it whenever you want, especially since Jess and I hunt a lot together. We have a little bit different cheek weld. So there it is. So you swing that guy here and you can adjust your comb height just like that. And then you swing this back tight and you can place it wherever you need it. And then the same thing with the length of pull. You twist that bad boy, and this thing, once you twist it enough, that whole thing will go in and out. And then this thing right here with a button push will go up. All on the fly, super easy, no tools needed, nothing moves. Once you set it, you twist it back down. I haven't had any problems with it moving or anything else. I think that's it when it comes to like what the Cross is and kind of what Sig has done. Accuracy wise and experience I've had with this rifle, I got this gun just before a bear hunt this year in Idaho, and I took it down the road and I got there about dusk, and I sighted this rifle in on my way into the bear hunt. And about 5 rounds in, I put a group into it 100 yards, and it was like, I think it was a 5/8 inch group with less than 10 rounds through the gun. For me, that's super impressive. For a factory gun, factory ammo, 5/8 inch group, I was pumped. So I doped it out to about 700 yards, and I went hunting and with full confidence in this rifle. And then experience with these rifles, we've been using these Crosses for 3 to 4 years now. This one in particular, I had the experience to go with Anthony Cuomo Sig to go to BC and hunt some black bears with him. He killed a couple bears, one being a complete giant, and I killed a pretty good bear up there too. We were using the 175 ELDXs, just factory ammo, and it put those bears down hard. So I'm a big fan of the 284, the 7mm caliber, and so that's kind of why I went with the 7mm over the other offering that they have in this. The other offering they have, which is the 300 PRC. Overall, the Sig Cross I've been using for 3 to 4 years. Like I said, killed a handful of bears and a bunch of coyotes with this guy. We've killed a couple of elk with this gun. The accuracy is there. The reliability is there. The scopes have never moved. Nothing's ever traveled. They fold up on your back and they disappear. For a factory gun and not having to put a chassis on it or anything custom, the gun comes out of the box like this. Man, I don't think you can ask for any more. These guns are sweet. Sig knows what they're doing. They've really got something going here. I got nothing bad to say about them, really. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything, shoot us a comment, and like and subscribe. And yeah, see you later, guys.